If you're moving to Australia on a working holiday visa, then here are some important points of advice from personal experience. First of all, when you get there, if you have the money to do so, I would definitely recommend doing some traveling, mainly because I flew to Sydney initially and stayed in Sydney for about 4 months, and then realised that I kind of wanted to go and see more of Australia. And then after travelling a lot of Australia, I realised that there were a lot of places which I actually preferred to Sydney. So I wouldn't just stick with your first place you go to, because it might not actually be your favourite, and I'd recommend travelling as much as you can at the start before you settle down, because then you get to see where your favourite place really is. Travelling around Australia is super easy. You can get flights for pretty cheap. You can fly with Qantas, Jetstar or Virgin Australia. Everything is fairly close when you fly. If you're looking to do more of a close road trip, stopping off at lots of different places, then they have Greyhound and Premier coaches where you can stop off at little places which flights don't go to, if you want to do a bit of an East Coast road trip or something. When it does come to settling down, here are some important advice points for finding a house and finding a job. First of all, I would recommend going for a house share, because we spent weeks trying to find our own place and it is literally impossible. You go to a viewing and there's like hundreds of people and you're never going to find one. So I'd recommend finding a house share. It's very easy to find a house share in most of the cities, as long as you don't mind sharing with people, but it's usually pretty chill. We've stayed in so many house shares. I recommend Flatmates for the app or the website to actually find your house share. You can message people on there, or you can even get messages from people who might want you in their houses. As well as this, you need to find a job. A few of the main job sites are Seek and Indeed in Australia. A few other ways to find a job are going into the hostels and looking at the hostel job boards, or just printing off your CV and walking into places that you might like the look of. And another important advice point, fairly obvious, but maybe it shocks a few people, but don't spend all of your money straight away, mainly because when you got to pay for a bond for a house, it's quite a lot. They might ask for 4 weeks rent for the bond, which you'll get back, but still you'll need to give it to them. And then sometimes they might want the first week or two's rent, so you might be paying over $1,000 just for your bond and first week's rent. So I wouldn't go spending too much money at the start, because yeah, you might need that extra bit for your bond and first couple of weeks of rent, especially if you're not working yet. Yeah, you need to have that money. But yeah, they're just some simple points of advice. I've got so much advice to give on Australia, as I did spend 2 years there, and very soon hopefully we'll be going back for our 3rd year in Australia. But yeah, if you need any more advice, check out my page, because there's a lot more depth that I go into on certain bits.